All right, there we are. Okay. Take this off. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the August Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition monthly meeting. We're so glad to have each and every one of you that are here with us. We are live via YouTube. My name is Councilman Willie Lightfoot. I am also honored to be here with my colleague, Council South District Councilwoman Lachey Harris, who is also chair of our media committee, as well as Anthony Nunez, who just went through my screen, and Ben Stock from Senator Brock office, as well as Deb is with us from On-Demand Action, Aaliyah Hinton Williams is with us, Victor Saunders is with us as well, and Joe from Senator Cooney's office, and my sister here to introduce herself, Judy Johnson is also with us as well too. So we have an agenda today, and again, this is our third time that we have met since the pandemic. So we have been working diligently hard to be consistent with getting our members kind of corralled and back together again. And so we are being intentional about being consistent about our meetings, and we're having these meetings in a hybrid format. Our meetings will be hybrid, they will be in person, and they will also be live via YouTube and on Zoom. So there are 3 opportunities for ways that you can connect with us, the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition, in those 3 manners: in person, Zoom, and or YouTube. Also, we are making sure that we are doing everything we can to maintain our COVID safe and policies and things of that nature to make sure that we're keeping folks safe. So it's also in the future, the next meetings will be here at council chambers, and they will be the first Tuesday of each month at 6 o'clock. We will continue to have these meetings here at City Hall in council chambers on the first Tuesday of each month going forward. So as per our agenda, we will open up or start with a moment of silence to honor not only the victims of violence that we have seen in the past. Of course, over 80 victims we had last year, and of course, over 45 victims we've had this year, but also to honor the officer who was murdered and the officer who was wounded. I had the pleasure, myself and Councilmember Harris, of attending the services on yesterday and paying our respects. And we want to make sure that we keep that family, those families, in our prayers, as well as all of the other people who've been impacted by the violence in our community. So we will start with a moment of silence. Thank you. Just housekeeping, is everybody hearing me and seeing me okay? Wave your hand or do something. All right, wonderful.
Councilmember Lightfoot, I have a question, or actually a statement. I want to apologize in advance. I'm going to have to disconnect. Today is National Night Out in the 19th Ward. They're having it, and that starts at 6:30. I'll probably stay on a little bit, but I'll break. By no means does it mean that I don't support. I'm just going to do my due diligence and making sure the media, the social media is linked to our meeting and all of that before I leave.
No, I appreciate that, and I was not aware that this was National Night Out, and I apologize for, because I'm sure that many of our members may be attending that. We have had some calendar issues. We did have a conflict even on a couple of weeks or last week when we had our Total Health and Wellness Fair. We also had the Peace Fest at that time. Typically, we like to coordinate our events together, but we're a little off sync due to the pandemic. I apologize for that. I will tell you going forward, we will be more in sync with our calendars and make sure that we are working with each other and not working, having our events at the same time. So it was not intentional. That was just a thing that just happened just because we have not been meeting, communicating and having conversations around our events. So thank you, Councilmember Harris. And because of that, we will make this very brief tonight so that folks can go and do what they need do, and I know many of you are working in this space. I just wanted to be consistent with our meetings. I feel like we've been apart so long that, it's important in the times of what we're going through. It's important that the community knows that we don't have our head in the sand. We're doing all that we can to work with our partners in this space around this violence. And I wanted them to be assured that we're consistent and diligent about making sure that we're having these conversations and continuing these conversations. So with that being said, I'll just go down my list of governor partners for updates, which we typically do in our meetings. I'll start with the city of Rochester with Victor Saunders and go to Aaliyah Hinton and just kind of share with us some of the work maybe that you have been doing since our last meeting and any information that could be helpful to the public in any way that we can be helpful to you in the work that you're doing, sir.
All right, thank you. Well, basically, we're in the midst of our summer enrichment program, which is in concert with the Summer of Opportunity program. This is young people who might not have gotten through the Summer of Opportunity process, or parents weren't able to get their paperwork in time. We've even offered services to youth as young as 12 and 13 to receive enrichment and different programming around the city. We have 8 different contracts out. We also purchased the VR transfer training program for young people that will assist them in being able to learn how to do measurements, work with hand tools and things of that nature in the virtual world before they even have an opportunity to utilize them in a regular workspace. We completed 2 more Pathways to Peace pop-up barbecues that allowed us to outreach to the community in heavily affected areas. We did one on Clinton and Clifford Avenue that was very well attended, as well as on the corner of Dewey Avenue and McGee. That was also very well represented last week. We just completed our Advanced Peace 3-day training. We had a contingent from California here working with our neighborhood change agents who will be going to work in the Dewey corridor, 10th Ward section of the city, working with our high-risk gun offenders. And if you saw the coverage within their first week being out on the street, they were doing outreach and a shooting occurred right near them. And one of our neighborhood change agents was able to take off his shirt and stop the bleed until paramedics arrived. And although the young man ended up on critical condition, he's still here with us. The mom has contacted us, and it's rare that we get an opportunity to get calls like that. So it was great for the entire program that we were in place and were able to help the community in such a drastic way. We are expanding our employment arm as we look to have young people 18 and older and our reentry clientele more gainfully employed. We're working with YAMTEP for pre-employment training. And we completed a meeting today that pretty much locked in our partnership with Ledestri and their 3 different factories around the area, as well as we met with, I believe, Ms. Resnick from Delaware North, who is in charge of all the concessions and things for Blue Cross Arena and the New Era Stadium, where we have young people from Rochester that'll have the opportunity to work at the Buffalo Bills games as well. So we are definitely trying to expand our opportunities for young people who are in need of employment. Basically that's it. We are looking to, we'll be putting out our shingle for 11 more Pathways workers to work in the schools. Our contract was okayed by the city school district. And now we're signing off, and we'll be able to hire 11 more Pathways workers to work in the schools and really target the social emotional needs of the young people that we serve, and hopefully affect a lot of the violence that we saw in the school district last year. So that, and we're also scheduled to train their school safety officers the 24th of August, which we look forward to every year.
So, Mr. Saunders, how does one engage? Are those jobs, are they going to be open to city residents?
Yes, they are. They're going to be open to all city residents.
What type of skills are you looking for these positions?
Well, first and foremost, there's a certain amount of case management that'll take place, but not as much in the schools. Basically, we look for people with a social emotional background, individuals of the community who have lived in those affected communities, and seeing how the changes in the young people are affected by the different traumatic events that occurred in their lives. So it's definitely gonna be somebody who can relate to the young people, as well as be able to offer them the resources and assistance necessary to be able to either deal with traumatic situations that they previously dealt with or not dealt with, or also work within restorative practices circles that we're going to be instituting in a lot of different schools.
We have, you got a question?
That's your question. I just want to know, how many you wanted to put on for that job? I mean, how do you prove that you can be qualified to do that, you know, to be, get on the side?
I really can't hear you that well.
She's asking, how does one basically apply and how do they engage in getting that work and know that they're qualified to do that work? How does one apply?
Well, one thing about it, there's different organizations within the city that you could have worked for previously that would have given you some of that experience. There are 501c3s, there are individuals that just are of the community who are highly recognizable, and they have the ability to be able to gain the kids' trust and work with them on a level of understanding. And if you have a high empathy IQ and the ability to work in a trauma-informed space, that is somebody we're definitely looking to bring on board. You have to have an understanding about the fact that the behavior of the children is not the most important issue at hand, but what has happened to those young people to have them acting in the way that they have, and trying to eliminate those barriers with the work that we do. So you could be somebody with minimal agency experience, but through your life experience and your ability to communicate might put you in a situation where you might be able to be hired.
Yeah, I am a foster parent, and I understand that because I've seen in the work, I mean, people that social workers that come, and to me, because they have the paper, they have those jobs, but
Right.
they do not have, they're scared of the children. Let me say,
Right.
the social workers are younger, and they're not teaching them the way they should go. We got to take our kids back and teach them. They're not,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So when I have kids here, there, they be like, thank you, Ms. Johnson, for speaking to them. I said, this is your job. This is your job when you're supposed to be doing this. Then I can't be doing your job. I'm making sure the child is ready and whatever. I had a situation when I went into the court system, that you have to take them to the court. And they would tell me, and I would tell them, oh, you can't wear that. And they said, oh, they can wear anything, they don't care. I said, no, we have to show them the way they should go. We can't just let them think that it's okay. It's not okay. We have to show them how they need to be represented in the courtroom. They have to be represented, right? We can't just let them do what they want to do. That's what's wrong with them now. They just do whatever they want, speak how they want to, whatever. I had young ladies that was falsely told inside the courtroom. They told that I'm standing in there. It was 2 days before that. I went into a school system, and they told her, they usually in the ninth grade, a person is not really, urban suburban is not even, thought of. Because of this girl grades and her personality and who she was, they was allowing her to go. I was her representation to go there. When I go to the courtroom, they had her saying that she wasn't supposed to be going to that school because she was so bad. And I was raising my hand. I said, who are you talking about? And they said, we're talking about the young lady right here. I said, no, because she's being, where she can go to urban suburban. I said, I don't know why this false paperwork is being presented. And the girl able, and I don't blame her. But 3 months later, the cops finally found her, and she said, I only want to speak to Ms. Johnson, because she knew I cared, that I was there for her. This is what we need to let the kids know, that we're there, not to just, let them do what they want to do. They have to be taught right. We gotta take our kids back. I mean, I did everything. I'm emotional. I'm apologizing. I'm very emotional. I lost my child. And I did everything in the world to show her I love her so much. And right now she's gone. And it's bothering me. And her other twin, I can't even get to her. I can't even talk with her right now because I don't want to take her over the edge because I know who she is. You know what I'm saying? Joe?
Yeah.
And I can't get to her. But I'm coming out here right now on myself to say, I'm still here and I want to help these children in this community to get back to where we was before. I'm almost 60 years old and I'm telling you, I want our kids back and let them know that we're there for them in the right way.
Right.
So
Right.
I apologize. I really apologize for this.
No need to apologize, believe me. But like I said, being able to show empathy to these young people who a lot of times have been in systems and felt like they've been passed around. We have a lot of kids dealing with loss and grief, and they need understanding more than they need, punitive measures, some of them. So we make sure that individuals that we interview are generally of the communities that these kids come from and can offer them some insight into the changes or the lifestyle that they've led that kept them out of trouble. And that's what we're hoping for in the applicants that we have come in.
Miss Harris knows who I am because she was one of my daughter's mentor when it's gone. I'm telling you, I don't know what happened. I really don't. And I'm heartbroken because of the situation. But, they tried to find who they were because they were adopted. So I'm apologizing.
Ms. Johnson, I could tell you we did everything that we could to support your girls. And, sometimes there's just nothing that we can do other than just do our best to support them. They choose their own way. But that doesn't mean we stop. It doesn't discourage us from supporting all students and even the ones that have been impacted by trauma. And then we also got to find ways to deal with our trauma while we're supporting them because we're being affected by the choices that they make. Right. So just make sure that we take care of ourselves as well. And trust me that the loss of your daughter was huge because she's smart. They all have so much potential and you see it in them. And you always want to rethink about, what could I have done differently? What, is there something I could have said differently? And I could tell you provided your daughters with mentors, and mentors work. They've been proven. It's a proven fact that they work because I'm a product of mentors, women who poured into me at a young age. So I mean, I wish I had better words to comfort you. I could tell you I'm with you in the loss of your daughter. I'm with you in feeling that pain. You're not alone.
Well, we definitely thank you, Ms. Johnson. Thank you, Mrs. Saunders, for sharing that information, for the work that you're doing, for telling us how the community, how they engage. And we'll be looking forward to getting that information on how to log in and get those particular jobs so that we can send that out to our members. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate the information that you've given us too, to help us to be able to navigate through these times that we're in, which is just unprecedented times that we're living in and what we're seeing in our community. So thank you, Ms. Johnson. You don't have to apologize. That's what this is all about. We're here. We're a community, and we're here for one another. We're doing our total health and wellness fairs, and that's what it's all about. It's all about us taking care of each other as a community, as a village. And so there's no apology necessary. We're here with you, and we appreciate that we're here with you throughout your pain. We feel that same pain as well. Many of us have suffered so much, and not that we may have not suffered what you've suffered, but we all have some pain. With that being said, I want to move to, and I'm so glad Shawnee Williams came on because we're going to address something for you very soon. I got a package from you today from Andre, my legislative aide, about some work that you're doing in the community. And I want to make that connection between you and Ann. I was telling Ann about some of your work earlier, and we want to make sure that we do that. Thank you, Councilmember Harris. Thank you to give everybody my love over there at National Night Out, please. Thank you. Aaliyah Hinton, I'll tell you this story, Aaliyah, very quickly. I was in Revival last week on Jefferson, and one of my members of my church, Mother Dorsey, one of the senior mothers in our church, left the revival, went home, and 10 minutes after she walked in her house, she hears gunshots. She looks outside of her door, and that police officer, those police officers who were shot right outside of her door. A few minutes later, after the revival ended, I received another call from another member of my praise and worship team, who the young girl, the 15-year-old that was grazed by the bullet, one of the bullets from the shooting of the officers, was one of my members' niece. So of course, we went into prayer for that family, but I immediately, they began to contact me around getting some type of resources to not only those families, but all of those people that were impacted in that community. So Lee, I know you guys have been extremely busy, and I just want to give you an opportunity to just talk about a little bit of work that you've been doing and how we can be helpful to the work that you're doing, and just share maybe some of the updated statistics of your work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And as always, I thank you for the opportunity to be in this role and to give some information this evening. You are correct. We continue at the Crisis Intervention Services Unit at the Department of Recreation and Human Services to just be extremely busy in meeting the needs of our community. As you know, we're doing that through the Person in Crisis PIC team on a 24-hour basis, where we are able to respond to mental and behavioral health crises, as well as a whole myriad of other type of crises that occur in the community, because we have built a relationship with our police department where they are calling us for many types of different calls at this point, and we're able to really respond to hundreds of calls per week. As you know, we continue to work with the homicide response team, responding to the scene of every homicide that occurs in the city. And so we are, in fact, helping the families and the victims' families that are being left behind from all of the homicides that are occurring. And we still have our team of counselors who are providing outreach and education to the community. We're also pleased, last week, myself and one of our community support counselors were able to attend a conference and a summer institute in Portland, Oregon, because we continue to try to find ways to meet the needs of the community, to keep a pulse on what the needs are. And one of the things that we have found over the past 2 years since the unit has been in existence is that the homicide victims leave family behind, including young people. And so our heart is definitely with our young people, particularly the sons, daughters, nieces, and nephews of homicide victims who are taken from us. And so we have decided that the Crisis Intervention Services Unit will be expanding and offering a peer support group to those young people. So we're looking forward to the fall when we'll introduce this new programming. And again, it is just to serve our community in any capacity that we can. So we truly appreciate your continued support and the support of the coalition.
So thank you. This is the reason why these meetings, I believe, are so important. Because, the good book says people perish for the lack of knowledge. And so what we're trying to do, and people say, well, that right against government, what are they doing? What are they all about? I don't understand. Well, first and foremost, giving people information is powerful by itself. Because how would one even know about the work that you guys are doing until it is a press release or some type of thing like that? But here, real time, they're getting information even before it is even being brought forth to officially per se, that they're able to gear up and get ready for it and find out and look for further information concerning these types of programs and projects and things that are happening. So that by itself is worth its way to go, just information, because information is power. And we know that oftentimes in our community, that's the problem that people complain about. I didn't know, I wasn't aware, I don't know where to go, I don't know how to seek out, I don't know what to do. Those are the types, I hear them all the time in barbershop. I hear them all the time in the community that people, they will say they don't know. So we're trying to be a conduit to help folks be informed around the topic of violence prevention, intervention, education, eradication, advocacy around all of this. And we hope as our partners grow, which they are growing every day, that we're able to provide even more information and the connections that are made through this group, like we're going to make tonight. We're going to make a connection tonight between Shawnee and Ann that I think is going to be very powerful. But so thank you, Aaliyah, for the work that you do. I know you guys tirelessly are out there working day in, day out, 24 hours a day, and we appreciate it. How does one in a crisis situation, Aaliyah, what do they do? Who do they call? What is the process for getting and seeking out help for one who may be in crisis or want to reach out to your office?
So if someone is facing an immediate crisis, they can reach the PIC team through 911 or 211, and the PIC team will be dispatched to come out to wherever that location might be to address the need and provide resource information, help people to make connections, get people to where they need to be. We're responding to domestic violence calls. We're responding to homelessness, substance use, of course, the mental health and behavioral health. So we can be reached through 911 or 211 for the PIC team. If people need resource information, if people need services and support, if people are victims, they can reach our community support team at 428-6630. Or if people need to reach me directly, they can reach me at 428-1303.
Thank you, appreciate it. We will move to some of our updates from our community committees. I know we have Shawnee on the line as well. We'll move to the media committee. We also have the Shade as part of the media committee, but there will be 3 updates tonight, and we'll be very brief. And the first one will be coming from our advocacy committee, which these are, and we want to keep in prayer Kathy Richardson's husband. Her husband has, been going through a lot of medical issues, and we want to be praying for him. She, if you know Kathy, she is a starch member, and I see Deb here. She is a starch member of Moms Demand, and she's a fierce advocate for the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition and the work that we have been doing in this space. And she is also chairs the advocacy committee. I'm just going to read very briefly her notes that she sent to me for the meeting tonight. She apologized for not being able to be here, but in her notes reads as follows. In the last 10 years, there have been far too many gun violence deaths of Rochester youth that has painfully climbed beyond anything we can tolerate. Our youth are under attack, and Rochester cannot fight this battle without significant support and help from our local county government and state and federal officials and agencies. In the last 10 years, the seven first responders and law enforcement officers were shot with guns in the greater Rochester region. 4 of them died from their gunshot injuries, all in the line of duty. This is a devastating number that has stolen the lives of 2 firefighters and 2 police officers, and injuring those first responders who survived their gunshot injuries for a lifetime. This cannot go on. We must have enforcement, accountability, and oversight over all aspects of gun violence prevention efforts, from the efforts we make in our outreach to youth to prevent them from being used as targets for profit by unconscionable gun traffickers, to the community program resources and funding we need to provide good paying jobs, which we were talking about tonight, higher standards of education and life-saving standards for mental health support and well-being for all Rochester victims of gun violence and trauma. Our support must include new standards of practice being established for oversight, enforcement, and accountability on all gun dealers operating in New York State, with codified protocols producing measurable outcomes that include reestablishing gold standard practices that were abandoned through the Tyrant Amendment, that must call for restoration of inspection, standards of record keeping, sales, training, mandatory tracking and tracing standards following that include mandatory entry of crime gun trace data into the ATF New York State Crime Guns database, and full investigations and measurable outcomes and accountability, including prosecution where appropriate, applied in all cases of dealers found to be out of compliance or endangering the public health through recklessness and dangerous practices. Failures in compliance and failures of notifying police were required to do so or as appropriate. This must also include public release of gun trace data information, which you know we have been, is one of our primary objectives this year, is getting a public-facing gun trace data report for Rochester. After comprehensive data and analysis are complete on Rochester landmark gun trace data report led by the Warren Evans administration and leaders, to this end, we are reaching out. She said she'll be reaching out to the Brady, because she's a Brady volunteer, assistance in requesting their help in a fall gathering to begin addressing many urgent questions concerning what the New York State Police can do, implement best standards of practice to enforce and codify into operational practices the recent passed New York State legislation, the Landmark Gun Dealers Code of Conduct, that must codify what is expected of our New York State gun dealers and law enforcement in their implementation of this law, in their critically important respective roles as a first line of defense in preventing the intolerable gun violence we are witnessing in Rochester. Respectfully submitted, Kathy Richardson. So that is her report. We stand by that report. We stand by everything that we're advocating for, and she's advocating, and Moms Demand are advocating for, and they've done an extensive amount of work in the state advocacy area, especially around the Gun Dealers Code of Conduct. The state has taken some steps in that. And if you watch our meeting last month, you will hear Senator Cooney, who gives a report about some of the new laws that have been put in effect in regards to the New York State Gun Code of Conduct. And of course, we will continually advocate on the local level for our Rochester gun trace data report, which will be public facing. We're asking for it to be, which we believe is accountability. So those are some things that we've been working on. We know I've talked with the mayor. He's continually working on the gun trace data report. We're working with Brady. We had an agreement that was signed under the previous administration to work with Brady on a gun trace data report for Rochester, and we're continuing moving forward in that vein. There are other measures that we're working on that are very serious as far as the accountability piece that will be coming out in the very near future that we'll be able to talk about. But just know that we are not, these things have not fallen on deaf ears, and we're continually moving in the direction to make sure that we have a public-facing gun trace data report here in Rochester, which we believe is going to be a huge tool in our toolbox to helping us eradicate and holding accountable those who are allowing these guns and trafficking these guns into our community. And so we fully support the position of our advocacy committee. And at this time, I open the floor for any of our state representatives if they want to have any conversations or anything around that space, since we're kind of speaking towards state law. I know there are representatives here. I don't know. I give them an opportunity to just say who they are and maybe address anything that they may want to address.
Can I jump in?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you. My name is Ann Binstock, and I work as the Chief of Staff for State Senator Samra Brook. And I want to say thank you for inviting me into this space and to give me a chance to provide some updates on some of the work that Senator Brook does. It sounds like at your last meeting, you were able to get from Senator Cooney some policy updates. Kind of the other piece of what state legislators do in Albany is to advocate for funding for local programs. We don't have the ability to administer them, but we do have the ability to fight to get state dollars and resources to programs here in Rochester. And we work closely with leaders at the city, the county, the other members of the Rochester delegation, and individual organizations to fight to get state grant funding for projects that we want to do here. Senator Brook in our Senate office has the opportunity throughout the year to make recommendations for grants that are given to municipalities or nonprofit organizations that are doing work in gun violence prevention. Sometimes those are capital grants for buildings and things that sort of last and are durable. And sometimes those are programming grants that can help with outreach, with staffing, with salaries. As you may know, Senator Brook is the chair of the New York State Senate Committee on Mental Health. So we often look to fund organizations and look for opportunities to support programs that are addressing the mental health needs of community members as a way into gun violence prevention. I'm going to share the senator's email address and our office phone number. I think the best way for organizations to interact with us is to reach out, to tell us what you are up to describe what your capital or funding needs might be. And then when we hear of a state grant opportunity and we have familiarity with your program, we're able to marry the funds that the state might be able to offer with what some of your funding needs are. So again, I'm with State Senator Samra Brook. Our email is brook, B-R-O-U-K, @nysenate.gov. And our office phone number is 585-223-1800. That's 585-223-1800. And we would be happy to meet with organizations. And we've met with a number of the folks on the Zoom and folks from the city just to get a better understanding of programs on the ground that might be eligible for state funding that Senator Brook can find a way to be supportive of.
Well, Ann, thank you so much. And that was the connection that I wanted to make, as well as with the rest of our viewers. We definitely have Shawnee Williams is on the line, and she has a program that she's doing. I want her to connect with you because when I heard, I was at a function yesterday and I actually ran into Senator Brook and we were having a conversation and she was saying, hey, I want to be able to try to be helpful and bringing resources to not-for-profits or people who are doing programming. And so today I got in my office and saw some information that came from Shawnee Williams. And I was like, hey man, I just thought that was a good opportunity to make that connection, because we know resources oftentimes are very limited, especially with cities. So when we can reach out to our state partners and they have opportunities that may be available to some of our Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition partners, then we want to make those connections because there may be opportunities there for them to seize. And so I definitely thank you for that information. Remember, those who are listening, that's Brook, B-O-R-U-K, @NewYorkSenate.gov. And that phone number is 585-223-800. So make sure that you reach out to that office if you may want to connect, if you may have programming ideas that they may be able to get information about your program and hopefully be able to make some connections when they're able to. I see Joe on the line from Senator Cooney's office. Did you want to say anything, sir?
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for having us here today. I just want to echo a lot of what Ann said. Funding opportunities, programs you have, we're always looking to better support our community and direct resources into our district. So please contact our office. Our email is Cooney, COONEY @nysenate.gov, and our telephone number is 585-225-3650. And I'll drop those in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Cooney's office, Senator Brook's office. That information is in the chat. Also, we'll make sure that we post that information on our social media pages, on our Facebook page, our Instagram, etc., and Twitter. We'll try to get that information out to the public as well. Shifting gears just a bit here. Deb, did you have anything you wanted to add from On Demand, Deb?
Just to educate people, Willie, who may not know what we do in terms of community outreach. We do partner at various events with both Rise Up Rochester and Rock the Peace as much as we can with the volunteers that we have. Like so many volunteer groups, during COVID, we had a lot of our younger volunteers who are young working parents who had to step away. So we are rebuilding. We will be tabling at 2 upcoming events. One is Rise Up's Health Fair this coming weekend. That's August 3rd. I hope I have the date right. It's the Saturday, the 13th. And the day after Labor Day, we will be at the Westside Farmers Market at St. Monica's Church. What we do in those situations is hope to engage members of the public. We talk specifically about our secure storage program, which is called Be Smart for Kids. There's actually a website that you're welcome to visit, besmartforkids.org. It talks about a lot of subjects, specifically secure storage of firearms, locked and separately from ammunition, of course. It talks about if your child is going on a play date. You often ask about things, allergies your child might have. We encourage you to ask, is there a gun in the home? If there is it stored securely? We talk about suicide prevention. Believe it or not, most gun homicides are suicides, and we don't often talk about that subject. Next month, by the way, being Suicide Awareness Month. So we will have a speaker who will address that, and we will talk with our own volunteers about Be Smart so that they can talk with family, with friends. Because as you know, Willie, all of us just want to keep our families safe, and we're coming at that in a lot of different and important ways.
Thank you, Deb. I saw a few things in the chat. Please forgive me. I think Mr. Saunders, you might have put something. Do you want to mention that and put that on the air?
Yeah, I don't know how I let it slip my mind, but we have released our RFP for the Rochester Peace Collaborative. That is $5 million that we are going to be utilizing to work with existing programs and new and innovative programming that's doing anti-violence work currently, specifically those grassroots organizations that have been doing this on boots on the ground work for a period of time and haven't had the funding to be able to build capacity to work with more individuals. We are targeting those organizations to assist them in making sure they have the opportunity to apply for these dollars. And we have also spoken with pass-throughs if they don't particularly have the infrastructure to be able to put together a proposal and access that funding. So CCSI, we've spoken to as a pass-through, and the Community Collaborative, Community Resource Collaborative as well. So Ms. Williams, if you have a program, I put it in there really for you. So if you have a program and you haven't sought funding yet, or you need some assistance putting it together, we want those programs that have a good chance of working and those that have been existing and work. So, you know, give me a call tomorrow and or hit me on the email. I put the Rochester Peace Collective in the chat. And if you hit cityofrochester.gov, Rochester Peace Collective, you'll definitely be able to access that information.
So what I hear you saying, Mr. Saunders, because we oftentimes we hear this. Of course, we know that we have a plethora of organizations, CEOs, and all that in this county, right?
Right.
Here that, you know, we don't have enough resources, that people are looking, especially those micro, I call them mom and pop type programs, and individuals who are just trying to get off the ground, but they have great ideas, things that potentially work and are outside the box, but typically they're turned away for a couple of reasons. One, government process is not always the easiest process.
Right.
I do business with the government, oftentimes people get bogged down in the red tape of their organization not being established right, not having enough insurance, not having the right type of establishment and all that, and they get discouraged and they go away. Or because they're told that, hey, we don't have the money, we just don't have it. Now you're telling me not only is the city, by way of city council, that is, and mayor, have dedicated $5 million to help to provide cityofrochester.gov/Rochester collective.
Collective, not collaborative, my fault, collective.
Peace Collective have dedicated $5 million to agencies, existing and or new agencies or programs that they may be able to address, get these monies. And you're saying that you created a mechanism where even if they're not set up properly, that you can create a mechanism of a pass-through through another organization that is set up properly that will still allow them to do their program and provide, if it fits the, of course, the vision of what we're trying to do, of course, in the RFP, then they will have an opportunity that they may not have had in the past. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly, and that is one of the major components of my position when the mayor appointed me, was to not only make sure that we internalize all of our intervention prevention efforts in the mayor's office, but also make sure that those entities in the community that have been working hard all these years and have not been able to receive federal and state funding have an opportunity to grow and allow their entities to be able to affect change in more individuals within the community.
Amen. So we appreciate that. We appreciate the opportunity. Here again, we're getting out information to individuals who not have known that. And what's the number that they can call for your office too if they want to find out more? Maybe they don't have the internet divide is real. So maybe they, what's the number they can call? 428-7406. 428-7406. And what we will do is we will send you out a copy of the RFP, and we'll also send you out the question and answers that we received from the webinar that we had after we had released the RFP. So you'll have all that information. Once you read the RFP, you'll recognize that your ability to be contacting us directly will be limited because we will be going through those different RFPs, but you will have all the information needed in order for yourself to go through the RFP process. And we recommend that individuals collaborate with other like-minded individuals and entities to put together your RFP. Collaboration is the biggest component of what we're really pushing for through this RFP. We want to eliminate silos. We want individuals to understand that the services necessary throughout the community affect us all. So through that, we can't believe that, well, if I apply for this piece of money, this is what my agency can do. There's other things that you can do in partnership with other entities that allows your work to grow. And with what we're doing out of the Office of Violence Prevention Programs is something I've always done with Pathways. For 15 years, we only had 5 members at Pathways full time, but we were highly visible and highly effective. Why? We utilized everybody in our community. There's nobody that's doing good work we're not willing to work with. And that's what we are about right now. If you're not willing to work with other entities, you need not apply. Absolutely. So, and I know that the mayor, one of his mantras is collaboration. That's huge. And we've seen that. We've seen him embody that.
Right.
That he's been doing. I want to say that number again for those who are listening in public: 585-428-7406.
Correct.
The fact that, thank you, sir, for that information. The fact that we're here talking about collaboration, I think is a good segue as I get ready to bring Anthony Nunez on into an opportunity for, again, collaboration, working together for the betterment of our community. We're going to close out with a conversation, Anthony Nunez and him having kind of telling us about what he's doing, the work he's doing, and the call to the community. And I'm going to turn it over at this time to Anthony Nunez, sir.
Hey, Willie. First off, it's good to see you, brother. It's been a long time. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to speak on this platform with everybody here and all the people who will be out on your YouTube channel. My name is Anthony Nunez. I'm a retired fire captain for the city of Rochester, and I'm currently the manager of emergency services program for the public safety training facility. And I'm also an active member of the Northeast Safety Committee. The Northeast Safety Committee is a grassroots committee that grew from a group of Latino firefighters that had some growing concerns of the civil disturbances that would happen post Puerto Rican Day Festival. So we got together with community members, law enforcement, city of Rochester, Rise Up, and came up with grassroots, very innovative ideas to try to have the area of the Northeast Safety Area Quadrant and the Clinton Ave celebrate safely with the hopes of reducing cost of law enforcement and arrest, and reducing any type of injury or harm to the personnel, to the public that are out there. When we first started out, it was a very arduous time to try to show that we weren't just trying to throw a party on Clinton Avenue, but over time we have created good partnerships with the mayor's office and law enforcement, because they've realized that our purpose and our goal is to try to make that time better. Since then, they've asked us to participate every weekend in hopes to reducing the loud music and gatherings that happen on the summer on Clinton Avenue. And we've been active almost every weekend. We've had personnel out there who have been out in the streets advocating, letting people know about noise ordinances and everything else, and putting signs up and passing out flyers. On August 6th is the last day of the Puerto Rican Festival. At this time, we are looking for people to come out and volunteer with us and support our efforts into the post Puerto Rican Day Festival situation that happens. Now, we've made great strides in attempting to try to lower the issues that happen over there, but what we, as just like was said recently with most of our grassroots volunteer organizations, we're short on people. You know, we just couldn't, we don't have the troops to do the things that we used to do as effectively as possible. So that's what I'm here for. I'm here to be able to please have anybody who has an interest, a vested interest in the area. It's my personal belief that, you know, if you address some of the smaller issues in your neighborhood, it works on taking care of the bigger ones, you know. And when our group is consistently led by our female entities that we have, and it's one of those that it brings it back to what Willie, your cohort who's sitting next to you, was saying, bringing the mothers back involved, bringing the grandmas back involved, letting them know, hey, you know what? You got grandma sleeping upstairs. Let's show some respect. Let's represent peacefully. Those are the kind of things that we try to do with the training that you gave us from Rise Up, where we're like, hey, you know what? We can engage with the public without escalation from the law enforcement and everything else.
How does one that wants to, we're gonna have Shani put some tags on our Facebook page to connect, but how, because I know y'all have a Facebook page as well, the Northeast Safety Committee. How does one who wants to volunteer, how do they engage?
Excellent. So we've got a Facebook page for the Northeast Safety Committee. I also, in the chat, I've included a link for anybody who's interested in volunteering and making a walk. We'll go through a quick training process, and we'll that day, if need be, as long as you come out, we'll take care of you. And if you go to that link, it'll get you into a scheduled time slot for you to be able to walk that community. Also, me, I'm a 24-hour kind of person. If you call my office, I'll pick up. And so I'm gonna give you my number. It's a 585-753-3715. If you're interested in supporting this movement in any way, shape, or fashion, let me know, and I'll see how we can have you help out.
All right, that's wonderful. I'm asking all of our partners, all of our listening viewers, please connect with this initiative. I've been out there. I was out there last year. I think one year I was out there in a tuxedo trying to help, calm down loud music. So I was just coming from a wedding, but I stopped in anyway to help out. And I plan to be there this year as well, trying to help out as well too. We are our brothers and sisters keepers. We got to help one another. And because what we are noticing, we're all short of staff these days after the pandemic. This room, when we used to have our Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition meetings, for those of you who are here, we had 30, 40 people on the call, meetings. And what we're finding out is that people are just slow to kind of get back re-engaged. So much is going on in our community. So much trauma is happening. People are just working to just keep the lights on, keep the bills paid, take care of their own personal business, and just trying to keep things afloat. And we understand and respect that, but we realize that we have to work together as a team, since there's few of us, but we can do few. One can send 1,000, two can send 10,000. So we're going to continue to work together in conjunction with one another. I want to thank you for the work that you're doing, all the work that all of you are doing. And I want to say that I appreciate the last week we had 2 successful events, the Peace Fest and the Total Health and Wellness Fair. I want to say going forward, we'll make sure to collaborate so that we don't have both events happening at the same time. We'll do a better job in that as we go forward. Just to folks know, and since we were talking about health and wellness, there's another, and we're talking about Clinton Avenue, there's another Total Health and Wellness Fair on Clinton Avenue, August 20th. And from my understanding, I think I heard that Rise Up or one of them is doing a health fair on the 13th as well. So we want to be supportive of those events, making sure that because we're trying to provide services to our community and to some of the most needy communities in our city. And so we will, and I will recommit to say that Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition, myself, have recommitted and dedicated ourselves to this work, and we will continually to do this work. I promise you that we will remain steadfast, diligent on this. This table, and I say this at every meeting, is open for anybody. Anybody can come that has like-minded, that wants to educate, advocate, and eradicate around violence in our community. This table is open. There's no silos here. There's no me, I, it's we and us. This table is open for anybody who wants to come. So community, say, I don't know what to do. I want to help. I want to do something. Here's an opportunity to get involved and get engaged. We meet monthly, the first Tuesday of every month. The meetings going forward up until a point in time so we make a change will be here at City Council, City Hall, 3rd floor chambers. You can also engage via Zoom, or you can also engage via YouTube on the City Council YouTube channel. So it's open and it's available. We're accessible, we're approachable, and we're transparent, and we're making sure that we're accountable to the people of the citizens of Rochester. So we want to be intentional about that, and we want to be open to let you know that you guys are more than welcome. If you want to contact me directly to get involved or engage with the Rock Against Gun Violence Coalition, you can contact my office or my aide, Andre Gully, at 585-428-6543, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check that. Contact our office, 428-6554. 428-6554. You contact my office directly if you want to call. My work cell, I don't have a problem with putting that out there, 585-478-4603. That's my work cell. That gets directly to me, 585-478-4603. Or you can contact me at willie.lightfoot@cityofrochester.gov. We are always looking for partners and willing to work with anyone that wants to educate, advocate, and eradicate around gun violence in our community. So with that being said, it is 7:08. I've taken you 8 minutes past our normal time. You know how I am about time. I really believe that your time is valuable, and these meetings are typically only an hour, and I promise you that we will stay diligent with that time. So I'm going to say we're going to sign off. We love you. God bless you. Be safe until we see you again next month. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. I was completely Virginia point. Old school for real.